So first of all, the legacy of 40 years of communism and the nature of the transition. So the joke at the time, in early 1990, at the beginning of the transition, was, we know you can turn an aquarium into fish soup. The question is, can you turn fish soup back into an aquarium? Right? So communism, the revolutionary transformation of communism, had liquidized the aquarium. It had destroyed the rule of law. It had destroyed democratic institutions, independent courts, independent civil society, all been turned into fish soup. And it was a huge challenge to work out how we might turn it back into an aquarium. And many of the problems that drive and underline what's happening in East Central Europe today go back to that fundamental problem. It's not surprising that democratic institutions in these countries are more fragile than they are in Britain or the United States, because they've only had 30 years to establish themselves and win social support. Marx and Engels in the Communist Manifesto said the essence of communism is the abolition of private property. And while some private property remained in Hungary and Poland, by and large, that goal had been achieved. And so the huge challenge, starting in 1990, was how do you build capitalism without capital and without private property, right? Answers found: restitution, give it back to its previous owners. Good idea, very slow, very difficult, only covers a bit of it. Second answer, find foreign owners. Great idea, quite successful in this region. A large part of its, the more dynamic section of its economy is now actually foreign owned, typically, for example, German car manufacturers. Remarkable statistic. Nearly 80% of Hungary's exports are from foreign-owned companies. Nearly 80% are from foreign-owned companies. But that in itself awakes an old complex in East Central Europe about Mitteleuropa, about dependence on the West. But most of the answer was in the process known as privatization, the largest privatization in modern European history. And although the privatization process was conducted differently in different countries, everywhere it was deeply flawed. It had to be done very quickly, without any firm, clear structure of the rule of law and independent courts. And the result was, everywhere in the post-communist world, that people who had been in or close to the old communist ruling class picked up the spoils massively. Often very corrupt figures from the old secret police, from the Communist Party apparatus. It was called privatization of the nomenklatura. And at worst, it produced the phenomenon which Russianists and East Europeanists know very well of oligarchs. The Prime Minister of the Czech Republic today, Andrej Babiš, the people they were protesting against in Prague, is a classic example. He worked for the foreign trade arm of the communist state, Czechoslovakia. He was a secret police informer. We know that because he's on an official list, Slovak list of secret police informers. And he used all his connections to get rich quick and dirty, right? I think I can make that claim. And this produces, in the wider society, something that we don't have in the face of comparable inequality in our own societies, which is a sense of profound historical injustice.